Welcome to your Gemini horoscopes for the week of the 5th through the 11th of May. And you'll probably notice that there was no horoscopes last week. I'm so sorry about that. It was just crazy. Okay. The last week or so of that Mercury retrograde was just literally crazy. And to be honest with you, there was literally no time. And what time that I did have, there was just no way that I was going to be able to provide a quality product for you guys. So you would have had a lot of videos of me just kind of out of it, really, to be honest with you, because that's how most of this last week was. I mean, insomnia issues, we had the full moon in the middle of it, insomnia issues for weeks. So many things going on, so many miscommunications, so many angry outbursts. It just was so draining, and so glad that we're done with that. And not a whole lot really happened to change things around in Gemini, except that we left the shadow period of that Mercury retrograde. So this week we are officially no longer in a Mercury retrograde. We have a break until the summertime when it starts back up again, influenced a little bit by Virgo, but mainly in Leo. So we're looking at really July and August here before we got to deal with that again, which is kind of nice. We had some moon action in Gemini this week, and it does create a little bit of a challenge, but it's not entirely a challenge either, which is good. The moon is in a bit of a square with I do believe it is Saturn when it comes in. I can't see. Yes, Saturn when it comes in. And then we'll also move into a square with Neptune and Mars in the couple of days that the moon is really in there. Moon's in at first focused on career and then focused on your support system. So it's really all about, the plans that you have that you're trying to make, and just feeling like you don't have any support from anybody around you with whatever kind of support that you need. Sometimes it's just emotional support. Sometimes it's nothing more than just you sitting there with your significant other and you say, you know what, I think I would be really good at this. What do you think? And they just go, yeah, that sounds good. It's not very supportive. Almost like they're really not listening, which can be really, really frustrating there. So all of these planets, Mars, Neptune, and Saturn, are continuing to focus on long-term goals, specifically long-term financial goals. So you definitely need your support system in place, and you need to see eye to eye on those particular things. So when you're trying to sit down and you're trying to come up with a plan, and the person that you're trying to come up with the plan with just doesn't really seem like they're there, it does get really frustrating. And that's what the moon is all about. It heightens whatever it is that we're feeling in the moment. Now, the good news is that at first on Thursday, the moon moves into a sextile with Mars. Now, Mars is also continuing to focus on long-term goals, but we're really focused on long-term career goals and putting all of our energy into that specifically. Yet as we move through, the moon moves into a square with Mars. So that can get a little bit tricky. However, we are also by Friday, when this happens, the moon's also in a sextile with Mercury. Now, Mercury is focused on career as well, and in a much more helpful place for us. So being that Mercury is your ruling planet, there's a lot of ideas that come out of this. There's a lot of information. Do your research, of course. The more you do your research, the easier it is. But bottom line here is that I think that, okay, I'm just going to use this example because I see it on Facebook all the time. People go on Facebook and they go out to their friends. If I were to design t-shirts, would you guys buy them? Or I'm thinking of doing this. What are your guys' thoughts? And to me, honestly, doing that is like, you might as well just shoot those ideas in the foot and bury them in the sand right now. Because if you don't get positive feedback from it, chances are you're not going to do it. Bottom line here is this is your career and this is your money. And this is your future. So it needs to be your decision. And even when you have a significant other, really the only support that you need is to make sure that things are taken care of at home when you're not there. That's it. You know, as long as you are taking care of the finances of the household, as long as you are taking care of your responsibilities, even your spouse doesn't really have much say in what it is that you're doing right now. And when you get excited about something, and I've seen a lot of Geminis get really excited about things and then just like walk away like a deflated balloon afterwards when everybody else isn't excited about it, it's because they're not feeling it from your perspective. When you decide you want to do something and you get really, really, really excited about it, we just automatically assume that everybody else is going to jump on board and get excited about it too. And it doesn't always work that way. So you have the support that you need when you need it. And when you don't, you are your best support system, because really it's all about what you're going to put into this, not about what everybody else around you is going to put into it, if that makes sense. So being aware the moon is definitely a part of all this. Being aware of this helps you to kind of maintain those emotions a little bit. Now, my mentor told me something very important many years ago. And that was that many years ago, I had an illness that I still don't know what the hell it was. I will say that I do know that it was an allergy to something specific that I was putting into my body a lot that I don't put into it anymore, ever. But a whole year after that, and I was really sick around my birthday too. That's significant to the story. A whole year later, I wanted to throw this big celebratory party for my birthday because I had gotten past the illness. I was still alive and still here because this illness really, I really did think that I wasn't going to be living much longer when I had the illness. So I wanted to throw this big party and celebrate that. And it just didn't seem like it fit into everybody else's schedule, or that they didn't just seem very excited about it. And I was really offended. Like, people, I almost died. They knew, that that was a possibility. And I think that, what tends to happen with most people is when you get through a situation like that and you're on the other side of it, you don't want to go back and think about it again. Right. So most of the people around me were like, oh, that would be fun. We'll see if we have time for it. But really, they just didn't want to think to go back to a year and think about all that they went through in that particular situation themselves, which, to be honest with you, I can kind of see. I can kind of resonate with that, honestly. I think we all can resonate with that. But what my mentor told me was, you can't expect other people to feel the same way about something that you do, because they're not feeling it from your experience. They're feeling it from an outside perspective. And the outside perspective does not have all the facts. So consequently, I was brokenhearted about this, thinking it's because nobody cares. But really, it's because they cared so much, they didn't want to revisit that again, which makes perfect sense. I do get that. So basically, this is what I'm talking about in terms of handling or maintaining your emotions on this, just to make sure that your emotions don't get the best of you and you don't wind up in an argument over something that you don't need to be in an argument over. Nobody has time to waste on that, right? So that's what I have for you guys this week. If you love your horoscopes, do consider sending a tip or donation to my Coffee link in the description. I don't normally say that anymore, but I just did for you guys. So you guys are awesome. Really appreciate all of those coffees. I'm Melissa Bruce, the Heavy Metal Sidekick. I will see you next week, guaranteed. Make it a great week, regardless of what you do. And let's get those big plans in motion, guys. You can do it. I'll see you next week.